glad you're here. Glad you came. Just a Sunday assembly.
Basically how it's expressing hopes for a full life, regardless of the circumstances. And we think that this is an appropriate song when we're talking about courage, because every day when we live to the fullest, we're choosing live with courage. So, please everyone stand, and well, you don't have to. We never force anyone to do anything. But it would be greatly appreciated if you did. Hope when you take that jump, you don't fear the fall. Hope when the water rises, you build a wall. Hope when the crowd screams out, they're screaming your name. Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay. Hope that you fall in love and it hurts so bad. The only way you can know is all you have. Hope that you don't suffer and take pain. Hope when the moment comes, you'll say, every broken bone, I swear I live. Hope that you spend your days, but they all add up. When that sun goes down, hope you raise your cup. Wish that I could witness all your joy and all your pain. But until my moment comes, I'll say, every broken bone, I swear I live.
Every broken bone,
I swear I live.
every broken bone.
I swear I live. Every broken bone, I swear I live.
How about now? Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to Sunday Assembly. I'm a little bit sick today, so if I do crazy things or say crazy things, blame me, Dave. But thank you all for coming. Thank you so much. It's November, Thanksgiving. I'll take this and walk around a little bit. Our theme today is courage. Pretty specifically, courage in who you are, courage in what you do, be who you are, that kind of thing. We have a couple of presentations today, a reading about, well actually, let's see, it's called Coming Out Atheist. It's a reading that Christiana Joy is going to give us. We also have Ash Beckham here today, and she's going to also do a thing about accepting yourself and stuff like that. And also Renee is going to give us a little talk about coming out. So, courage. Just, be who you are, that kind of thing. Like I said, it's November, so this month is Thanksgiving. I'm really thankful that people are actually coming to these things, Sunday Assembly we've been around for a bit over a year, maybe like a year and a half yet? I don't know.
No, not quite.
Not quite. A year and a few months. What? Oh, yeah. So if you have any thanks you want to give, we do shout-outs at the end of the service. Stephanie right here has got some cards and stuff if you want to shout out to somebody, thanking them, or if there's a life event, something going on, a birthday, an anniversary or something, go ahead and fill out a shout-out card, and they'll present those at the end of the program during the notices and shout-out section. Let me tell you a bit about Sunday Assembly if you haven't been here. By the way, if you haven't been here, raise your hand. This is your first time coming to Sunday Assembly. Thank you very much. Thanks for giving us a try. I really appreciate that. Sunday Assembly is kind of a congregation. We are a congregation that is not limited by any kind of religious beliefs or anything. We just all get together and celebrate life. Sunday Assembly has a motto. It is live better, help often, and wonder more. And just a guide, if you want to live that way. If you don't want to live better, I guess that's your choice, honestly. But yeah, we meet once a month on the third Sunday. We get together, we play music. We have our house band here, Pale Blue, which we wouldn't be anything without Pale Blue. We would just be a bunch of people talking. So we really enjoy the music. Thank you guys so much. So anything else? I think that's it. Our first presentation is our reading by Christiana. Come on up. Oh, by the way, let me introduce myself. I'm Sean Cummings, and I'll be your MC for today.
Hello. I'm a little sick too, so we'll see what happens. Coming out atheist is what changes believers' minds about atheists. It's what makes people realize they've been fed lies about us, that we're not who they've told we are by their pastor or their parents or the media. It's what shakes loose people's bigotry against us. And a less bigoted world is a better world. Being bigoted makes you treat people badly. Being bigoted adds to the hatred in the world. And being bigoted screws up your own life. It closes you off to ideas. It makes you sour, nasty, small-minded, just unpleasant. But less bigotry against gay people is good. Less bigotry against African Americans is good. Less bigotry against people of Middle Eastern descent is good. Less bigotry against women is good. Repeat for other bigotries. And less bigotry against atheists is good. Coming out isn't a single step we take once and are done with. It's an ongoing process, a series of decisions we make every day. Each time you come out to a different person, it's a different coming out moment. Plus, with some people, you may have to come out more than once if they don't believe you the first time or don't accept it. And even after you've come out to all the central people in your life, coming out is still an ongoing series of choices you make every day. Do you chat about your atheism at the basketball game? Do you wear an atheist t-shirt to the airport? Do you cross "In God We Trust" off all your currency? And do you do it right in front of the store clerk, or do you at least wait till you get home?
Well, it's true. If you happen to be an atheist, you don't have to be an atheist to be here, but if you happen to be, don't be quiet about it, or at least don't hide it, Yeah, be proud of who you are, and it'll be more accepted. Whatever your religious beliefs are, Don't be afraid to be you. So our next presentation is by Ash. She is an accidental activist, she told me. She has videos on YouTube, and she's here to talk about coming out of your closet. Please welcome Ash Beckham.
How y'all doing? So first of all, thanks for having me. Thanks to Renee for getting me here and Nick for hooking up. Made it super easy. I've never been to Sunday Assembly before, so I'm really excited to be here. And I think as we talk about coming out of our closet, it's something obviously that's courageous to do, but I think we all have closets, and they're not just. I feel like the LGBTQ community has kind of cornered the market on what it means to be in a closet. But I think like the last presenter said, that you can come out as anything really. So. I kind of share my stories and my experience as a way of relating to people and kind of relating on this very somatic level of what it feels like to have certain experiences, and they might not be exactly the same, but that we do them together and we know kind of what that feeling is. So just going to be a series of several stories, hopefully that are at least mildly entertaining, and they are to me. So when I was first coming out, I guess you kind of live in this life that you have, and this life you created. I grew up in Ohio, came out to Colorado because it was in Ohio, and needed to be somewhere else. But then went back to Ohio to my sister's wedding. So this is probably 15 years ago at this point. And I had been out here, and I was so happy and so comfortable and in love and all these great things. But so many people at my sister's wedding hadn't seen me since I had come out. And this was no ordinary wedding. This was a Midwestern 500-person event in a poorly decorated hotel ballroom with gaudy chandeliers and everything to boot. And I was so happy. My girlfriend was there, and it was so great, but I hadn't come out really in years because I lived this kind of isolated life out in Colorado, and so then I was home. And so so I'm at this wedding, and I'm wearing a black strapless bridesmaid's dress, which is probably the least comfortable part of the entire thing, but sometimes fighting with your mom and your sister is just not quite worth it. So anyway, I'm making my way around to certain tables and land on a table of my parents' friends, folks that have known me for 20 years. And we have this kind of awkward conversation, and it's nice and polite, and I'm about to walk away, and then they say, and then one woman kind of jumps up and says, "Well, we love Nathan Lane." and so this like battle of gay relatability that started at the table, and the next woman says, "Well, have you ever been to the Castro?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, we have friends in San Francisco. We get there pretty often. We've never been there, but we heard it's fabulous." Then the next woman goes, "Do you know my hairdresser, Antonio?" And I was like, "I live 1,500 miles away and go to a barber, but so no, actually, I don't know." But of course, I didn't say that. I was like, "Well, it sounds familiar." And she's like, "Well, I've never seen a picture of a girl in his stall, and he's really good at cutting my hair, if you know what I mean." And then, then it came up to the last woman at the table, and she says, you can see she's like stumped, and everybody's been, they've like, okay, Hollywood, San Francisco, hairdresser, like everything is kind of taken. So then she finally doesn't really know what to say, but needs to say something. Kind of gets a smug smile on her face and says, "Well, do you know my husband, Tom? Sometimes he wears pink shirts." And that was the gayest thing that she could possibly think. And so I kind of caught in this moment, and you knew that they were trying, but really? And so I go back to my table with my girlfriend and a bunch of my friends, and I can look at this moment in a bunch of different ways. I can chastise them for their unworldliness and mock them for their inability to jump through the politically correct gay hoops I had brought with me. Or I could empathize with them and realize that was maybe one of the hardest things that they had ever done. That was coming out of their closets, and all of their vanity and worries and need to be politically correct completely went out the door because they just needed me to know, in their way, it was okay. And sometimes you get to pick your allies, and sometimes your allies pick you. And sometimes you just need to meet them where they are. And And how do we take that sense of empathy? I mean, it wasn't like that was really a tough room. My parents had just bought the whole place dinner and the bar was open. So it's not like it was, it was a tough place to convince people what to do. But how do you take that empathy and that compassion that we find in places that are comfortable or at the very least known and take them into other places where we meet people in different phases of our lives, in our new jobs or when we go to school or things like that? How do we start to give people the benefit of the doubt and just trust that they're trying? And I think that that's kind of the most important thing about coming out, and obviously something that connects so well with this is creating a sense of community, kind of that empathetic safety net for people to be caught by, to know that just because you don't say it exactly right or you don't have the politically correct way to say it, we don't freeze ourselves because we're afraid of being wrong. If we trust that someone is not trying to offend us and help them through it, then we can begin to be educators. So I live up in Boulder, and several years ago I worked at the Southside Walnut Cafe, which is a quirky little place up there, a bunch of weirdos being themselves, but it's awesome. That's kind of why people go there. And when I was going there, I was going through phases of my militant lesbian intensity. Not shaving my armpits, quoting Ani DeFranco lyrics as gospel, and depending on the bagginess of my cargo shorts and how recently I had shaved my head, the question would often be sprung on me, and it was usually by a little kid. Are you a boy or are you a girl? There would be this awkward silence at the table. The dad would nervously shuffle his newspapers like he didn't hear anything, and a mom would shoot up, "What did you just say?" Look at her kid. But I would say nothing, and I would see the inside. How can you come into a place that's the very basis of it is on celebrating diversity, celebrating uniqueness, and ask me a question like that. Do you just buy your girls' dolls and your boys' trucks? Have you never met a lesbian before? So I knew eventually I was going to have to say something because I was getting so angry. Every time I walked up to a table that had a kid between 3 and 10, I was ready to fight. And that is a terrible feeling. And incidentally, an awful way to try to make a living when you're working for tips. So I decided, okay, I'm going to say something. And so it happens again. And I walk up to this table, "Are you a boy, are you a girl?" And there's this familiar awkward silence. But this time I'm ready. And I'm about to go all women's studies 101 on this table. I've got my Gloria Steinem quotes, I've got my Audre Lorde quotes, I've even got this little bit from Vagina Monologues that I'm going to do. So I take a deep breath and I'm about to go off. And staring back at me is a 4-year-old girl in a pink dress. Not some challenge to a feminist duel, just a kid with a question. "Are you a boy, are you a girl?" So I take another deep breath and I squat down next to her and say, "Hey, I know it's kind of confusing, my hair's short, my clothes are baggy, but I'm a girl, and you know how sometimes you like to wear your pink dress, but other times you like to wear your comfy jammies? Well, I'm more of a comfy jammies kind of girl." This kid looks me dead in the eye without missing a beat and says, "My favorite pajamas are purple with fish. Can I get a pancake, please?" And that was it. Just, "Oh, all right, you're a girl. How about that pancake?" It was the easiest hard conversation I ever had. Sure, I could have dropped my feminist manifesto all over that table. I would have felt better for a little bit, and for all the times I hadn't said anything before. The kid would have missed it completely, and the parents would have been exponentially more awkward than they already were. We would have missed an opportunity to have a connection, and however small it was, and however brief it was, I know unquestionably that kid changed my life. She taught me in an instant how disarming it was to be real, to be authentic, to be honest. I had no option but to do the same. Now, did I change their life? I don't know. Sure, maybe. Maybe the next time they saw somebody that looked a little bit different than they were used to, or they had some interaction with somebody that was gender nonconforming, or somewhere on the LGBTQ spectrum in their life, they softened and remembered the time I was nice to their kid. Sure, maybe they got in the car and drove down 25 and went to the Springs for a Focus on the Family rally. I don't really know. But I don't want to believe, I don't want to live in a world where those connections don't matter. That personalization of our cause, those one-on-one interactions, that is where change comes from. If we wait for administrators or legislators to mandate our acceptance, we are missing a huge opportunity to be the change we wish to see. We just hang out with people that look like us, act like us, play like us, and pray like us, or do we find those people that we see every day that we just don't know yet and connect with them? Connect with somebody who's just a little bit different and find our similarities that exist. I say that's where change comes from. And people often say to me, "Well, Ash, I don't really see color or sexual orientation or religion. Those things don't matter to me. We're all just human. That's just what we see." But I question that. To me, the opposite of xenophobia and racism and homophobia is not love, it's apathy. If you don't see my gayness, then you don't see me. If it doesn't matter to you who I sleep with, then you can't possibly imagine what it feels like to walk down the street with her at night, holding her hand, and approach a group of people and have to make a decision if I need to drop it or not. And the faith in humanity and the small victory I feel when I hang on and walk by and everything works out great. And the humiliation and the shame I feel when I drop it, even if that's the right decision. If you don't see that struggle that is unique to my human experience because I'm gay, then you don't see me. And if you want to see me, if you want to be an ally, I need you to see me. And that is not just the domain of LGBTQ folks. I don't know what it's like to be a lot of different things, and I can't expect for you to know what it's like to be me. We have such a negative connotation of the word ignorance, but if we can look at it as just simply lack of knowledge, then it is our responsibility to share our stories with people. I don't know what it's like to walk into a store and be the only person that the security guard follows among my group of friends because I am the only person of color. I don't know what it feels like to see my brother walk out the door and be afraid of him returning because for him there's no such thing as a routine traffic stop. I don't know what it feels like to walk on a plane and sit down and have the whole place tense up because I am wearing a hijab. And again, this is not just progressive causes or liberal points of view. I don't know what it's like to be the only evangelical in my poli-sci class who believes in their heart of hearts and is struggling with the concept that same-sex marriage is against God's will. And I don't know what it's like to be a straight, white, cisgendered male trying to have a conversation about feminism when everybody thinks that this person is just the villain. I don't know what it's like to be any of those people, but I have friends that do. And when they share their stories with me, I can be a better defender of empathy. Somebody who is on the side of compassion. If we don't know that these things happen, then how can we protect ourselves and protect our friends against them? There's a Martin Luther King quote that is, in the end, we will not remember the voices and the words of our enemies, but rather the silence of our friends. It is so critical that we learn the struggles that the other people go through, and our friends go through, and our allies go through, and just people we interact with on an everyday basis. It's so critical to understand their position. It's important that we stand up, but we have to know who we're standing up for. And when we stand up and when we share these stories, it's not just the flashy fun ones. If I came up here and told you how easy everything is and how great it was and what my path was like and how it was just all unicorns and rainbows, that is not life. Nobody relates to that. I don't need to sugarcoat that to actually share my story. If I want you to know what it's like to be me, I got to be able to share the gritty too, and that's what takes courage. Not hearing it, but sharing it. And knowing that you have a safe place to do, and knowing that you're inspiring other people to do the same thing. And sometimes when we find our voice and our passion, it becomes a tsunami that we can't hold back. We become indifferent to the consequences of the havoc it wreaks, because anything is better than being silenced again. So as we grow into our voice and our compassion, it's critical to take responsibility for the effect that it has on other people. And sometimes we get so angry we're not actually able to put that voice out in the world in a positive way. And for me, there's we all have places that we don't feel comfortable going, where we can't be ourselves. Could be a boardroom or a bedroom or a classroom or a dorm room or whatever it's going to be. For me, the scariest place to go when you're gender nonconforming in the way that I am is a public bathroom. There is nowhere that I feel less seen, and it's a crazy interaction. And these are one of the things. Again, sharing those stories that maybe a handful of people have experienced that, but for everybody in this room, there's something that you do every single day that is the hardest thing you do. And for 95% of the people in the room, they don't even think twice about it. It is not even on their screen. And those are the stories that we need to be willing to share, so people know that these things happen and that exist. So, and everybody in here, regardless of if you've been misgendered, at some point in your life you've been called something you're not. You've been put in a box that you don't think you belong in. And for me, what it feels like is I'm simultaneously rageful and humiliated. I want to scream from the top of my lungs, and I want to crawl under a rock. It's so incredibly disempowering to feel like there's a spotlight on you and at the same time feel unseen. And for me, when I go in the bathroom, more times than not, someone will say, hey, this is the women's bathroom. This is the wrong place. You don't belong here. what kind of predator are you? What are you doing in here? It's accusatory and insinuating and incredibly uncomfortable. And it's every time that it happens, or if it's not that, then it's a double take from a grandmother or a chuckle from a 4-year-old, and I'm reduced to tears in a stall. It doesn't matter how confident and comfortable I feel in 99% of my life. That 1% of the time is brutal, and it's like an everyday thing. I mean, you have to go to the bathroom. So for me, for whatever reason, airports and malls seem to be the worst. So I was in Chicago O'Hare once and had a very set process of going to the bathroom. I would have my little rolly suitcase, and I would walk in, and I would find the first stall, and I would make eye contact with everybody, and I would do my thing, and I would walk out, and then I would approach the sinks, and if there's a bunch of people there waiting, I wouldn't stick around because I wouldn't really want to interact with anybody for fear of what their response was going to be, but then you're the weirdo that doesn't wash their hands, the whole thing. I travel without a hand sanitizer. It's a very confusing process. Anyway, I'm in O'Hare, and I walk in, and am, making my way, and again, not making eye contact with anybody, and turn around, and a woman says, "Hey, you're in the wrong bathroom. This is the women's bathroom, you're in the wrong place." And I kind of ignore it. Usually you can get in the bathroom and people kind of let it go, but this woman puts her hand on my shoulder and said, "Do we need to call security?" So, unfortunately for this woman, it was that time of the month for me. So I spun around on the heel of my well-worn Converse low top, and I pulled a tampon out of my pocket and said, "Hey, your timing is perfect. I was just about to go into that stall and put this tampon in, so if you want to come with me and see if I'm in the right bathroom, that would be great." And you can imagine the look on this woman's face, right? Just like flat. Everything stopped. Even those like water hand things just stopped. So I looked back and was like, "Hey, you sure? Last chance? Oh, you're not going to make it? All right. Well, I guess you'll never know then." And for the first time in a decade, I was actually smiling in a bathroom. You want to make me uncomfortable? I'll show you uncomfortable. So that was my thing for a while. Everywhere I went, I would always have a tampon in my pocket. I would literally walk out of my house and be like, keys, wallet, phone, tampon. And I had some interesting interactions, as you can imagine. But after a while, it made me really hard. And it made me really mean. And it made me not the person that I wanted to be. Imagine the stress of walking through the world ready to whip a tampon out at any unsuspecting time. It was like a 6-shooter in the Wild West. And then I realized I was hiding behind a tampon. No matter how confident and comfortable and great and loved and courageous I felt in every part of my life, I didn't have the courage to actually have a conversation with somebody else. And I decided that I wanted to try to make my voice a compassionate cause for change. We have to be able to think about the impact that it has on other people. Now, did I want that woman to feel uncomfortable? Yeah, absolutely. But what I really wanted was for her to know what it felt like to be called out like that, what it felt like to be told you don't belong, what it felt like to feel unsafe. Then maybe she could have related, then maybe she could have understood my position, then maybe she would have changed her perspective. She got none of that from my tampon rant. So now bathrooms are still a challenging place for sure, but now I actually make eye contact, now I actually engage, now I actually have conversations. And is that harder? Yeah. But by saying nothing, by not interacting, that is the coward's way out. That is ducking my head and making it easier for me in that moment and not being part of that change that I wish to see. So, let's say that you're out there and you're ready to be yourself and be authentic and share your stories. How do you do it? Who's the first person you do it to? I say, you tell anyone and everyone. You can tell a complete stranger, you can tell your best friend, you can put it up on Facebook, speak, write, blog, mentor, join a group. Whatever that is, you can do no wrong just by getting your authentic self out there. And don't be frozen in the ice of your insecurity. You have to speak even when your voice shakes. If we wait for this perfect time or this perfect place or this perfect job title or this perfect income bracket or this perfect position in society to share our truth, it's never going to get out there. Nobody's going to give us permission to do that. People don't need you to be perfect. There is no such thing as the perfect time. They just need you to be you. Real, quirky, awkward, authentic, you. So I am going to ask you a question that has probably never been uttered at Sunday Assembly. It's so challenging if we look at trying to change the world and make a significant change and create a community that is more empathetic and an environment that is more compassionate and people that are more understanding, where everybody will have the courage to be themselves. And that is such a challenging concept. But what if it's not? What if it's not that hard? What if all we have to do is share our story with one person? When I was out waving tampons at unsuspecting strangers, I was not sharing my truth. I was not being authentic. I was freaking people out. And don't get me wrong, there's a time to freak people out. But when I told that pancake kid that I was a comfy jammies kind of girl, that was me being authentic. That was me genuinely connecting. So, so my question for you is, what is your tampon? Stay with me, guys especially. Stay with me. What is that one thing you are hiding behind? What is that thing that is stopping you from being authentically you? Is it your history? Is it your old expectations? Is it the life that you were supposed to fulfill? Is it your last name? Is it who your friends think you are? Whatever that is there one person in your life, could be your best friend, could be a complete stranger, where you can holster that tampon, where you can choose compassion over conflict, love over fear? And what if we all did that? And what if the person we did that to did it to someone else because they were so inspired, and so on and so on and so on? What if changing our world, changing our community to a place that celebrated diversity, that was rooted in empathy, was as simple as celebrating our own uniqueness? Maybe it's that simple. Sure. Maybe it's not. But as a room of people gathered on the tenets of Sunday Assembly to be here just to share who you are, to gain the power to be more authentic, and to give other people the encouragement they need to do the same. I know you too would much rather live in a world where maybe, just maybe, your truth is exactly what your community needs to hear. Thank you so much. You guys have been so good. If anybody has any questions, it's great. I would love to hang out. I'm so sorry, but I got to get on a flight. I do some speaking at universities, and with everything going on right now with diversity and inclusion, I've got something I've got to get to. But Nick has all my contact info, so if anybody wants to reach out and kind of continue that conversation, I'd be happy to. And I think we're going to figure out time I can come back down and maybe do a discussion, okay? All right, y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ash. All right, so in here in just a few moments, we're going to do the moment of silence, so we do moment of contemplation. Usually people are like, what the heck am I going to do during that time? So I have a couple of things to think about. Maybe you can think about if you want, or you can think about whatever you want. But so I was thinking, what are we going to reflect on? What are we going to reflect about? And the most obvious thing to me, the most recent thing, everybody on my Facebook has changed their picture to a French flag because of the recent terrorist attacks there. 120-something people were killed, and I was just like, yeah, what am I going to say about this? What am I going to do? What should we talk about? And I've been thinking about that for hours. I was thinking about that for a couple hours last night. And this morning I got up and I looked at my Facebook, and something I saw immediately made me feel very, very guilty. And it was talking about the bombing in Beirut that was killed 44 people. And I thought, why am I not thinking about that? Why does everybody have French flags and not, Lebanon flags? What is it about that? I mean, I have some excuses. I spent 6 years in high school and college studying French and French culture. France and America have a lot of things they're wrapped up in together. They helped us in the Revolutionary War. They built us a big statue. But, I mean, are their lives more important than the Lebanese people's lives? The obvious answer is no. So obvious that, like, if you were in like just a simple setting and someone asked you that question, you might be offended. Of course they're not. Of course all their lives matter. And I felt a little bit ashamed. I don't know why. I don't think about the people of Lebanon as much as I think about the people of France. So maybe just take a moment and think about somebody you don't normally think about. And we're going to start right now. All right, thanks. We're going to have the band Pale Blue come up, and they're going to play a reflective song.
It's just McKinley.
Jess McKinley's going to play a reflective song. Vicki McKinley, do you want to tell us something about it? Real quick, while we do the reflective song, we generally pass around a hat. Sunday Assembly is a volunteer organization, and donations go to pay for our venue here, equipment, everything else. So if you have something to do, please. If you don't, no one's going to break your walls.
All right. My name is McKinley Hudson, and I am a drummer for Pale Blue. I also do a number of different musical things. I was heading up the choir for a while here. So, yes, I'm going to sing a song that's called Courage to Question. And I've written it over the past year or so. I became an atheist beginning of 2014. And yeah, when I first came out, it was very difficult. If you know the Abbott Brothers song, I Am Loving You, first lyrics are, when at first I learned to speak, I used all my words to fight. And so there's very much that aspect of it. I understand very much where people come from with it, but this is a little more of a reflective and less angry version of what I like to say to people. So, courage to question. Thank you.
Say I'm a dreamer, I'm not the
So next we have our section. It's either called "This Much Is True" or "This Much I Know." Renee is going to give that talk now, and she says it's more of a "This Much I Know" sort of talk. So please welcome Renee.
I'm guessing you can hear me just fine without the mic, am I right? I'm enjoying the service today so much. The music has been great, and I really liked our speaker a lot. I want to talk to you today about a subject on which I have a very high level of expertise, and that subject is coming out. When I was a little girl, I was out shopping with my mom, and someone said to us, "Merry Christmas," and I didn't reply. And my mother said to me, "It's okay, you can tell her why." I imagine that that moment was much more resonant for my mother than it was for me. She was less than 20 years out of the concentration camp in which she had lost her entire family. And looking back on it now, my guess is that it was important to her, that she had not only survived but had 4 children, that she had a little girl, and that she could say to her little girl, "It's okay to say that we're Jewish." And it's funny how those little moments of parenting turn out to be significant in retrospect, isn't it? Just around the time I was turning 18, I figured out or realized or discovered or decided that I was a lesbian. And as I looked at that decision whether to cross that bridge, it felt kind of familiar to me because I had grown up in a tiny minority where I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area. There weren't a lot of Jews. And it's funny, you know, it was like we felt like we were just fine. In fact, God thought we were kind of special. But we knew that a lot of people didn't feel that way about us. And they had certain ideas about us, and those ideas were wrong, and what was wrong with them. That's how I grew up. And as I contemplated coming out in that sense, that is, crossing that bridge, I thought, well, here I go again. And I was afraid, and I thought I would be lonely and that I wouldn't have friends. I was quite wrong, by the way. I've never been lonely, and I've had lots of friends ever since. And a lot of you know that I have 3 kids. Some of you know that I have 3 kids. And when you have children, you get to come out every freaking day, don't you? Every Girl Scout meeting, soccer game, back to school potluck, whatever it is, you get to make that decision because, you know, there's kind of an assumption. Actually, I want to go back to 1974. We also thought that we were really special. I came out in a time and place where we thought we were hot. We thought we were going to destroy patriarchy and that we were really important and significant. But at the same time, women were losing their jobs and losing their children and being locked up and being beaten up. So it had that same kind of feeling to it, like, what's wrong with them, but we think we're okay. So then that decision whether to come out, and at some point a friend of mine said to me, "I'm just out everywhere." And I thought, that sounds really cool. I might try that. And my goal in doing that was instead of doing the, I'm a lesbian, right? Instead of doing that, just to have the same normal conversations that everybody else has. The same natural kind of casual, right? Valerie and I went to the play, I'm getting married, you know, stuff like that. And after 20 or 30 years, I got pretty good at it. Actually, I got pretty comfortable with that. And what I found out was that when you are comfortable, and whether you can relate to people one-to-one in a natural, comfortable way, you know what, it really is okay. It's not that awkward. You get through it, and everybody feels better, and then you can have a real relationship with those people. So about 12 years ago, I figured out or decided or realized that I'm an atheist. And I thought, here I go again, but I got this down now. I'm good at this. In the intervening time, the gay rights movement has made astonishing progress at lightning speed, right? And why? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. A lot went into that. But one of the reasons, I think, is that everybody has a gay or lesbian friend, neighbor, coworker, relative. And as we came out, it caused people to think, to question their beliefs, and sometimes to change their minds. So I think for atheists who are currently an oppressed and discriminated against minority here in the United States of America, I think that as we do that, You know, you don't have to argue, you don't have to debate, you don't have to challenge, you don't have to be obnoxious. You can just be who you are and be open about who you are. And I think that some people will stop and think, and they may change their minds about what they think. And so what I want to say to you is, whether you're gay or lesbian or not, whether you're atheist or not, whether you're an Oakland Raider fan or not, whatever your deal is, that if you can just be who you are in your normal interactions with people, this I know because I learned it from my mother. It's okay. Thank you.
Hello. All right. Thank you very much, Renee. That was awesome. All right, so normally during this portion we do a meet your neighbor kind of thing, but we are running a bit long on time. So what I would rather do is invite you to the Calore restaurant after the event today and come meet some of your neighbors here. We've got a reservation there at 1:30, so if you're hungry and you want some Italian food, go over there. Now we're going to do the shout-outs and the announcements. And who has decided to do that?
Sure, we'll both go up there.
All right, they're going to dual team it. Okay, double team. All right. Right after that, we're going to have the closing song by Pale Blue.
Actually, we referred to this yesterday as riffing. So, all
Yes, riff away, Jimmy.
right, do you want to do the announcements or the shows?
Let's start with the shout-outs.
Okay. I don't want to mess up the microphone. Dave gets angry. So, our first shout out is from Tom. Denver Sunday Assembly shirts are on sale right now for 25% off through the end of November. This is the wonderful t-shirt. Please model. If you would like one of these, they're now 25% off, only at evolvefish.com. So, that's that one. I won't put it on the house. Given the events in Paris this week, I'm grateful to be with people who dare to question the damage that religion can do to your world, to our world. Thank you, Nancy. And a shout out to Neil Webker on his birthday. Did I pronounce that right? Yay! Yay! Happy birthday! And then a shout out to Mike and Kyle on their 1-year anniversary of dating. Congratulations! This is from me. Shout out to William Cheshire for fixing my furnace. Got home from vacation and it was really, really cold. So we do have an HVAC guy in our group. As the holiday season approaches, I hope everyone finds their family by blood and by love to celebrate with and enjoy. And if you'd like to help often, if you would like to help often through community service, please contact Renee or myself today or email us.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, that's it. Okay. Great. All right, so a couple announcements. So the next Sunday Assembly, I'll do that first. It's going to be on Sunday, December 20th. Okay, so it's a little bit before Christmas. Dave, I'm assuming Christmas music, right? And we only get to do it once a year. Okay.
try.
He raises his eyebrows, so we'll see. It's easy. Come on. jingle
we like
bells.
singing those.
That's right. Let's see, what else we have. Tonight there is the Colorado Poet Laureate that is coming to the Hub. And so it's an open event. It's a free event, and it's done by the Humanists of Colorado, and everybody's invited to that. Something is happening Thursday.
Last month and the month before, we talked about an advanced directives workshop that we're going to hold at the Secular Hub. We have a lawyer coming in, and it's a free workshop Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. at the Secular Hub. If you don't have advanced directives in place or you want to know more about them, come on and join us, because I think it's very important that people do.
Oh, and one shout out.
And one more shout out. Shout out to Kim Saviano for all she does and showing us how to be who you are.
There was something else important. We can look at the program.
It's a circus.
Oh, the socks. Yes, thank you. That was important. Okay. So last year we got involved with it's sort of started here in Denver and started to spread across the state and across the nation. It's a sock it to 'em program for the homeless. So the idea is you bring in some socks, we'll pack them up into a bag, into a box, collect them, and then like last year, Sean and I, we went over to the Denver Rescue Mission, we donated them. We may go back there, we may find another homeless shelter that's in the area, but all the socks go to the homeless. So it's a definitely worthwhile cause. And I'll just mention, for those of you who don't have family or new to the area and just want to celebrate Thanksgiving with your community, the Hub is putting on Thanksgiving dinner. It's going to be Thursday, November 26th.
I think if you have any questions, Ruth McLeod can answer them, but this is a chance to celebrate with the Family by Love.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay. Anything else, Dave? Is there any other mentions from the Hub? You want to make? Okay. All right, great. I think we're ready for you guys to take the stage.
Please feel free to stretch your legs during this song and sing along. Or don't sing along. Or hum. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Jump on up and sing.
Kyle, calling Kyle.
Guess you don't need faith, huh?
We got bass.
People looking for an enemy. So just looking over me. World
coffee and baked goods.
All right, everybody. There's coffee and donuts in the back if you want some of that. We also have a lunch reservation at Calore, like I said, at 1:30, so feel free to come and join us if you want to. But thank you for coming to Sunday Assembly in November. Thank you. Goodbye.